Welcome along to episode 791 of the Mill Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on the show this week, Ben Cole from Wolverhampton Youth Musical Theatre let us know about their forthcoming show at the Grand Theatre. We have a chat with Cherry Shine all about Seaside in the City, which comes to Wolverhampton this bank holiday weekend. We chat with Kate Penman over at the Good Shepard as we find out about an arts exhibition they've got coming up in September. We'll be catching up as well with the Swamp Monkeys. Well, actually, we'll be having a chat with Will Dorrell over at Who's Who and Dinosaur World about not only their new rivals, which are the Swamp Monkeys, but also about their forthcoming show at Jurassic Park over the weekend too. Ian Billings let us know about his latest book. We talk about ocean bottles and making sure we're hydrated with Professor Greg Whyte. Plus, we've got Reese Mason from MYOTO sharing music with us, and we've also got music from another artist as well, Noah Derksen. That's all on the way on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
Wolverhampton Youth Musical Theatre present one night only at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre on the 8th of September. To tell us more, Ben Cole. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, as we speak, you're deep within rehearsals. What's going on? Who's involved? And how much of a fun night is this going to be?
Yeah, this is going to be pretty special for us. It's the first time, obviously, we've done anything at the Grand. Normally, at this time of year, we're rehearsing for a full musical production, but this year we're celebrating 25 years of WYMT being here at the music school for these 2 weeks in the summer holidays. So we thought we'd change it up a little bit. We've got obviously the current members and recent members that have been involved in Six and Jamie and things like that are here with us. But we've also got lots of special guests coming back from our kind of alumni of the past 25 years, really. So, yeah, it's looking to be a really exciting evening.
And one where they're playing on a theatre which is, more than a century of experience itself. And I mean, the sort of people who were involved in your youth theatre, have easily gone on to be stars of stage, screen, and it's a great starting point for so many kids in our city.
Yeah, and I think the fact that, as you've said, we've got former leading gents and ladies who are coming back just for that Sunday because they feel exactly, so strongly about what you've just said, that actually opportunities like this for young people in the local area, are really important for that kind of career ladder. And I think, again, not just those that we've got that have gone on to perform professionally. We have a lot of our former members who work in technical theatre who went on to do fashion design, but still say that being in that kind of creative environment was, really important in terms of transferable skills, life lessons, all of that, really. So, it's been really nice that we're having such a good response and so much effort made from people to come back and to get involved.
Yeah, and it's that starting point, isn't it? Your first chance to do something like this, and as you say, wherever you go from here, it's the theatre itself isn't about just producing theatre stars. It's about building confidence, allowing people to explore the talents that they don't maybe normally get to do in a professional environment, and they might be able to sing for the Christmas get together for the family or whatever. But actually, this gives them the chance to show off properly on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like we said, an opportunity to be in a local theatre with such history. We know that there are lots of companies that give young people these fantastic opportunities, but I think, something a bit special about raising their aspirations, putting it on at the Grand. And like we said, actually, some of them will be duetting with, people that Monday morning are going back to their jobs within the West End or wherever they are on tour at the moment as well.
And with professionals in the industry involved in the group too, again, it gives everyone a good grounding and it shows them what it's like to work in a proper professional environment whilst enjoying themselves and building confidence.
Absolutely. Which, young people need in this day and age, don't they? More so than ever. Like you said, is just somewhere where we feel accepted and a safe place to, like you said, find our path and whatever it is that we want to do. So yeah, we're really excited about the next 3 weeks. We're here for 2 weeks rehearsing, and then obviously kids go back to school, so we've got an extra week this year to actually kind of throw in some last minute rehearsals and to tie up all the logistics of, as we said, getting everybody back and working out where everybody's going. And there's some fantastic numbers. We're really lucky that in our repertoire, we managed to have shows like Les Mis, Miss Saigon, Hairspray. So, there'll be lots of toe tappers and something that everybody recognises, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and so a great lineup of music, a hugely talented cast, and they get to provide song and dance on a major stage in our city, and I think that's just it just sums up the magic that comes from being involved in something like Wolverhampton Youth Musical Theatre.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tickets, grandtheatre.co.uk for friends, family, and anyone else who wants to see this talented bunch.
Yes, please. We'd love to see as many of you there. Yeah.
And it's already getting busy, so you need to get in there quick to book your tickets, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. If you want the good seats, then yeah, get in there quick. Especially with payday around the corner and rehearsals starting today. We know that when we start rehearsals, that's obviously when ticket sales start to really, really pick up. So yeah, get booking today.
Well, there's already swathes gone across the theatre, and that's just in the stalls. And the front row, you've got your last few chances. There's only about 6 seats left on the front row, so get in there fast for that one. And give them a box office call 01902 429212, or to say grandtheatre.co.uk to get your tickets. Where do we find WYMT on the socials?
Yeah, so you can follow us on Facebook, literally at, I think, WYMT UK, and you'll get a bit of backstage footage, starting to put out there who's coming back on the night, and hopefully you'll be able to guess some of the numbers in the programme from rehearsal shots and things like that as well.
It's going to be good fun. Ben Colt from Wolverhampton Youth Musical Theatre, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
As ever, it's all go over at Who, Zoo and Dinosaur World, which includes an amazing show in Jurassic Park that literally comes to life. Will Dorrell's here to tell us what's going on. How you doing?
Hi, Jason. How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, so the world's treating you well, and we'll come to the image behind you on your Zoom call in a moment or two's time. But first of all, talk Jurassic.
Yeah, so we've got a big Jurassic Park event going on all weekend. We've got the Jurassic Park cars here and some real live dinosaurs over the weekend, along with our normal dinosaurs that we have. And then on Saturday night, so the 24th, we've got, as you said, Jurassic Park Live taking place, which is a outdoor cinema showing of the film. Hopefully everyone knows it. And with that, live actors, moving vehicles, and real dinosaurs all taking part and acting out parts of the film as you're watching it on the big screen.
It all sort of comes to life, and I love that idea. I think anything that makes films even more interactive, particularly in those moments where you jump. Please tell me there's no raptors lurking around opening doors.
Well, that would be giving too much away.
Okay.
These things could happen. Yeah. So well, obviously it's a big outdoor event, but yeah, we have got raptors taking part in it, along with some very convincing actors as well. So yeah, it should be a good night.
That's going to be amazing. So where do we find tickets for that one to begin with?
Yeah, head over to our website, which is www.who-zoo.com, and then if you go into the events section, you'll see it all plastered across there, and you can just purchase tickets from there.
Okay, tell me about your friend, because we've got a picture just behind you as we speak of a rare swamp monkey, and you've got a couple of them that have turned up.
We do, yes. We've got two swamp monkeys, or De Brazza's monkeys, to use their sort of proper name, if you like. Yeah, they come from Central Africa. And yeah, we've had two arrive quite recently. But they actually came back in mid-June, but we've been sort of giving them plenty of time to settle in before officially announcing them, if you like. And we're hoping that we can get them breeding so that they can start contributing back to the breeding project.
Yeah, because I mean, you're involved in several projects like that, and this is an international thing which zoos do, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's it's obviously one of the most important things about zoos. We are out there to ultimately help animals beat extinction, and it's not something obviously that we kind of like to talk about, but ultimately, you know, there's a lot of animals that are going to be becoming extinct in the next sort of 100 years, and certainly within, you know, a lot of our lifetimes. So whatever we can do to stop that, really, the better. And you know, Debrasa monkeys are an interesting one, or swamp monkeys to use their, you know, their nickname. They are an interesting one because at the moment they're actually considered least concern, but a lot of conservationists, particularly the EEP holders, that's the person who looks after the breeding projects and everything of these, they really feel that it needs to be reassessed because these are animals that come from, you know, not the most politically stable parts of the world, shall we say, and areas where there's a huge bushmeat trade, and ultimately we don't actually know how many of these exist in the wild, and the general consensus and everybody's general belief is the number's a lot lower than we think it is.
A white beard, a big ginger eyebrow, and an interesting hairdo.
Yeah.
So they're an interesting looking creature.
They are, yeah. They're very unique. I mean, the two that we've had come here, they've got characters. They've both got their own characters. You can very easily tell which one is which, just within two seconds of watching them. The male is very cheeky, quite literally a cheeky monkey. The female's a bit more reserved, but she tends to sort of sit there, work out what's going on, and then you know, will be very sort of quick then to kind of come over once she's kind of like worked you out. But they're a very unique species, a very interesting species, and one that I think doesn't perhaps get the attention it deserves.
Oh, well, it looks amazing. So it's something else that you can see down at the zoo. And obviously, give us those details again for how people can come along and find out ticket pricing, etc.
Yeah, so obviously the best place is our website, which is www.who-zoo.com. We're on pretty much all the socials now, including TikTok as well, which has taken a while.
I can imagine the swamp monkeys are going to be starring in a few dances, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm tempted just to give them their own iPhone and just let them run our TikTok account. Yeah, so you know, we're on all the socials, and we regularly sort of posting on there, so keep an eye out for news on there. In regards to where we actually are, with the Newport side of Telford, so if you're coming from sort of Wolverhampton way, M54 Junction 4 is probably your best bet, and then look out for our signposts from there. But yeah, that's the easiest way to find us.
Yeah, well, always good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us. Have a brilliant time. Enjoy your swamp monkeys and have a great time rewatching Jurassic Park because I know it's you that you're running it for in particular, as well as all the other major fans that are going to come along and see it.
Oh yeah, it's just my excuse for the 100th viewing of the year. That's all.
That's the way we like it, and dinosaurs too. See you soon.
Cheers, Jason. Thanks.
Now, MYOTO have some brand new music on the way on Wednesday, the 21st of August. It'll be out there in the wild, released like a child to explore the world. However, somebody who knows already what they've got in store is Reese Mason, who's the lead singer who joins you now. How are you doing, sir?
How you doing, Jason? Pleasure to be back. Thank you for having us again.
Well, it's always good to talk to you. So, what's been going on since last we spoke?
To be honest, mate, it's been a pretty wild ride. We switched to doing gigs up here. So like again, coming from a previous background in showbiz, I never wanted to do the same town more than one time in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of difficult us being in Manchester, and we had to travel about and stuff. But you know, every band goes through that, and I think it's fun to be on the road like that. So we really set out to do that, and just never kind of cross too many dots at the same time, you know, because then you're building. It maybe, you know, brings people back to wanting more, and that's what we got with the gigs. It was quite nice. We were filling regularly, and then from there, just I think, with spending so much time together, really, we began writing. We went out to France to record with a friend of ours called Joe. He runs a beautiful studio called Studio Alouette, just in Conflans, France. So we spent a lot of time together, a lot of time writing, and we've got some new stuff that we're ready to put out now.
Because your Willenhall accent's a bit different to last time I spoke to you as well. You sort of broadened your vocal palette since you've been away.
Well, I think they're finally getting me, to be honest, Jason. I know you've said that I'll try and switch back into it, but no, to be honest, it's crazy. I'll tell you a funny story, actually. So one of my first couple of years here, a lot of people thought I was Irish. And I was like, no, you know, la, la, la. And I lived with a girl from Northern Ireland with the thickest accent you've ever heard. And she couldn't understand me. And I was like, what's going on here? So I've had to slightly elongate certain words and drop the dialect as much.
Yeah, when I went to live in Liverpool when I was at uni, I came back having to mispronounce things because otherwise they had no idea what you're talking about. So I came back from uni talking like that, and it was really confusing for most of my friends and
100%.
family. But I've got over it
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
it's you'll be all right once we renaturalize you if ever you're back down here.
Ho- Hopefully so. Yeah, yeah, hopefully so.
But I mean, with the music, the writing, this means obviously a release. Now, is this the first official release in this sort of style? Because
In this sort of style, yeah, yeah. Well noted as well. Thank you for listening to the stuff. This was a kind of like one-off inspired tune that we were listening to a lot of lo-fi at the time, and it's very lo-fi inspired. But again, it's kind of it's a lot lighter than our usual stuff. And what we're going to go into, it's a lot lighter than as well. So that's why we decided to do it as standalone and track really. But again, I think it's got the little hint of us in there. I think from the last time we spoke as well, we've got a lot more of a band identity going now,
Mhm.
which is nice. You know, it's just a life cycle of bands, really. You kind of find your own voice and where you want to go. And that's not necessarily where you'd start off with perhaps your intentions or things that you'd like to make. You know,
Mhm.
you go through a lot of experimentation. And I think now we're at the point where we know kind of the gap in the market that we're going for. So I think it's still got those little styles of it, especially later on in the song.
So obviously for your fans, this is going to be a little bit of a departure, but one they'll still feel comfortable with. For people who come to you for the first time, they're going to be drawn into something there with melodies like we've not heard from you before.
Definitely so. I think the addition of a keyboard is one thing that we really have been playing with these kind of lighter tracks. We've got one as well. So we're actually working on an album project towards next year. Hopefully we start recording that at the start of next year, and then hopefully release it towards the end. It's all but there, and that's why I've kind of sectioned. We've kind of sectioned the songs into what fits, and we're very big on doing concept
Mhm.
ideas with even singles. So I think in a lot of our music, you'll find jumping genres and stuff like that. Maybe adaptations here and there, but you'll always have a key point or a key emotion that we're trying to sustain an image around and a soundscape around. And I think that's definitely what this one has been. It's kind of been its own standalone concept on its own of nostalgia with childhood and going back to that. Everyone's everyone here is Manchester. Everyone walks a little bit quicker, and if you go London, even quicker still. I'm sure you've seen that during your time. And I think it's just like the message we were trying to send is just that peace and tranquility of being a child and having wonderment around instead of just zooming everywhere. And I think that's a key feature in the song.
But still a bit MYOTO light compared to some of the things we've seen.
Exactly, yeah. So there's some toned down riffs and definitely toned down vocals in this one.
Virtually every picture on your Facebook profile pics, it looks like it could be an album cover. So how have you come together for the artwork for this? Because there's a video that runs alongside it, which is embargoed until the 21st, but is quite a treat.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honestly, that was me messing around with AI. I've been a fan of AI and the digital stuff you can do. And with this video, the original video idea was to get this in kind of 8-bit. Again, you're going towards like an artistic
Mhm.
direction, something that would attract a child's mind, and I think that's something that I wanted to do. And then, while I was going down that avenue of kind of pixelating existing videos that we had, I really just there was something off with it, and I didn't know what it was. And I think really I was being a little bit too on the nose of how literal I wanted to be with the art piece with it, and how we wanted to be with the art piece with it. So we were just messing around with AI, and again, ideas around that. It's so good the prompts you can use now, and it pretty much paints the idea that's in your head if you're very clever with it. And I just remember a very vivid image of me looking out of my window when I was a kid, and there were blue skies ahead, and there were not a cloud in the sky, and you just wanted to be out there, and it was enticing. That window, it was the idea of that window enticing you, and whatever was out there was completely up to your imagination and your mind. And that's what we've tried to capture there. And I think the image of that window does that for me because again, I look at the cover work that we've got And it does remind me of that childhood window and just wanting to be out and explore, you know.
And how's the feel and look of the band go with this as well? How are the rest of the boys doing with it all?
Yeah, you know, I think they're very excited to experiment, you know, with it. It's a lot less. I mean, on one of the songs that I showed you in the past, it was just like me changing things up, and they had to go with it no matter what kind of thing. But yeah, I think this is, you know, such a collaborative effort now, and we all come together with different ideas, and maybe that can, you know, be a little bit lighter here, or that could be darker. You know, we go in different ways, really. But Andy came to us with that riff, and it was probably a good year and a half ago now. And instantly, I remember I was out on a walk along the canal with a friend, and I just had to sit down on the bench and write some stuff to it because it was just one of those songs that grabbed me straight away. So I love that the other boys are experimenting with that as well. And again, it kind of fits into our narrative. We're not really going to conform to a genre of stuff like that. It's just we want to make music that makes you feel, and if whatever makes you feel, I'm definitely up for giving it a go and seeing what comes out and what ideas can, you know, formulate from there.
But you don't have a boy band look, so you know you look like you know what you're doing with music.
Well, thank you very much. I hope that comes across that way anyway. If not, I'll have to start getting the boys in matching jumpsuits and doing NSYNC dances or
Oh,
something like that.
that could be a giggle for one video. I'd love to see
It
some of your
could be.
heavier stuff done just like
Could
that.
be.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, yeah. I know some of the lads were keen to get me wrestling in there as well, and I was like, oh, maybe for a few. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't argue with you because you will wrestle them to the ground until you get your own way. I mean, this is part of the problem, isn't it? They are probably scared.
Well, we've been there before. No, I've calmed down a lot now. It's nice. It's just honestly, the boys are superb. I can't put them over enough, and it's so freeing. And these are the people that I moved to Manchester for. You know, these were the people who I knew, you know, would elevate you as soon as you're around them, and their creativity and their process is phenomenal. I'm really happy to be in the band.
Well, I'd say it's been an evolution so far. We don't really know quite what will happen next. We've got something in the plan, but it'll continue to grow, and before you know it, we will be hearing this on a national scale rather than it being Wolverhampton, Willenhall, and Manchester. But
Bless you. I hope so.
it,
That's the
it
plan.
it will be going beyond all of that, and so the gigs continue. And festival take up anything like that this year?
Festivals, no. It was just a matter of one. We really wanted to finish what we were writing at the time, and I think extra stuff like that would have distracted us. The boys have got really good jobs, to be fair. I know. I mean, I struggle with this. I mean, any kind of grassroots band, I think, would struggle with this because, you know, you either get a couple of people who have got like that's their life, and you know they're throwing themselves into it. Kind of my kind of role there, you know, love or hate it doesn't matter. It's no better, it's no worse. But then, you know, if you've got a couple of people on decent jobs and are on decent money and they've got a mortgage, it's a very tough thing to balance. And I think that's been a really good learning curve for me because I was so cutthroat and I was so like get to the point with any project I was in, really. And I've kind of learned from them how to slow down and navigate it well because I think there's you can be too much, you can be too eager as well. So I think it's good to check yourself.
Yeah, but you are still sharing yourself through the music, and I think that is something which helps you as the people you are to really craft have something, have an artistic output, and know you're getting the right sort of reaction to that as well. And I think that certainly continues to be the case, particularly with this track. So, Blue Skies, released 21st. Where do we find it all on the socials? And is it something we can pre-order? Are we waiting to download on Spotify? What are we doing with this?
Yeah, honestly, this is just another thing that we're just releasing. It's available on all DSPs. Anyway, you've got Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, you name it. We've also got some stuff coming out on YouTube. There is also a plan that I will kind of release, well, I'll say a little bit about now, but it'll be released towards the end of this year if we do go ahead with it, that we are kind of doing like a conceptualized video to it. So we're trying to make the AI come to life. But we're also in talks with some dancers as well because I'm quite a fan of contemporary dance. I've never done it myself. You know, I'll get a few sherries in me. Maybe I'll give it a go.
You've worn the lycra to go along with it, but you've never done the dance.
True. That's true. But the dancing, no, yeah. So I don't know. But I've always been a fan of contemporary dance and stuff like Sia. What she was doing with Maddie Ziegler and, you know, Elastic Heart really stuck out to me. And there's been a few other bits that have really stuck out to me with contemporary stuff. And I think this is a piece that it can either go with the indie mix, it can go with the chill out zone, or it could be like, you know, a bit of a pump up song. It's got a bit of everything in this, you know, and I think the nostalgia really hits with it. And I think it's a perfect summer tune for me, you know. Again, so I think, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we can kind of craft with that. But as towards new releases, this is going to be the only one for the rest of the year, and then hopefully we'll drop some stuff about the album coming very soon.
MYOTOband.com is where you want to go to, MYOTO band.com, and get there. The socials, how do we find you there?
Yeah, just at MYOTO Band everywhere. We've got pretty much every social at the moment. So yeah, Instagram is probably our best bet. And then, yeah, just find us on YouTube. And we do post the occasional Facebook.
Yeah,
and
you will occasionally see Reese with a full set of buttons on his shirt, but not very often.
Not very often, exactly.
Right, Reese, always good to catch up with you. Keep up the good work. Loving this sound, and very much looking forward to what happens with the album as we head into 2025.
Bless you, Jason. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Advice to see the sun. Your pretty eyes don't ever wonder why they look my way with the same faith as they've always done. Blue sky, my home. Child in me wanna run down the alley with my bare feet and fall into the break. The leaves are falling, my friends are calling. This blue, blue sky, my home.
Prolific author Ian Billings, that's the nicest thing I've ever said about him, has got a new book out. He joins me now to explain what exactly he's been up to. How you doing?
I'm a prolific author. You've never called me
Yes.
that before.
Oh, there you
But you
go.
can't spell pen.
I can't spell author, let alone prolific.
Fair enough. That's why you need people like me to prolifically author lots of books. A friend of mine said to me the other day, "How many books now?" And this is my 36th book. I can't
Wow.
believe it.
It matches your
36.
IQ.
Exactly. Right up there at 36, 37 one day, I hope.
That's
It's a brand new book. Shall I show it to you on the radio?
That's to be good. Yes. Grot and Horror.
I'll flick the pages for those who are only listening. Listen to that. This is Tolly Grimpen's Tales of Grot and Horror. It's a children's book. It's a funny children's book. And it was based on a website I made about 2 or 3 years ago for schools when I wrote some stories, which are kind of gothic, horror, funny stories. So there's parodies of Dracula and Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And the idea of the website was for me to write half the story and then the kids to finish the stories off with their own independent imaginations and then go back to read my conclusion to the story. So what we have in this book is my complete stories. And I think there's 8 of them altogether. 8 grotty, horrific stories featuring a freaky and frightening collection of tales for your enjoyment. There it
Which is
Tolly Grimpen's Tales of Grot and Horror.
a fantastic Halloween gift for all the family.
Boogie Boogie. Exactly. I hadn't thought about that. That's perfect. A Halloween gift. I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah, although did you be doing Halloween gift wrap next with pictures of your face on and stuff?
Exactly. That'll frighten them off.
That is the job. But I mean, you do so many amazing things like this, and then the work you do in schools, and you say this is all part of the inspiration here, it is amazing how creative these kids are, and you get to spark their imagination through works like the books you've got here and the things that you do when you are in the classroom.
Exactly. It's about sparking their imagination, getting them to imagine and believe and look about what could happen. What if Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge because it's not just accumulating facts and ideas and thoughts. It's about applying them or think how they could be applied and getting the kids to imagine what they could do just through stories, what a story could be. It could make a scientist think, what could happen if I put 2 chemicals together? It could make a doctor think, what could happen if, etc., etc. And I think that's really vital. And there's not enough of it going on at the moment. So I'm going around championing imagination and telling kids to use theirs through the medium of literacy, in my case.
Yeah, through the fact that you're providing them with some amazing ideas, some stuff, and it's getting them to giggle as well. And I think that's what counts, is that you draw them in that way.
That's vital. I think humor and comedy and funny stuff is really conducive to creativity because when they're having fun, they don't realize they're inventing. They don't realize they're working. So when I'm in the classroom getting them laughing, they want to come up with a better joke, and they often do, than I do. And they create something amazing and wonderful they wouldn't have thought of until I put them in that kind of format to be able to be free, to be funny and imagine.
And are you back to doing some international stuff at the moment? Because it's been a while since I last remember you being abroad.
I haven't got anything lined up. I've done a large part of the world with my various tours, so I think there's very few countries left who could cope with me. But I've been all over in the past 10 years or so. Where have I been? I've got a big map of the world in front of me here: Jordan and Uganda, Kenya, Australia. Twice in Australia. Australia was brilliant.
I
Taking
love
my books
Australia.
out, being funny. Yeah, it's a great place to be. I love it. There's hardly anybody there. They're all living on the outskirts. There's a huge centre of it. It's empty. Go to Australia. It's fab. Russia. I did a school in Russia a few years ago, which was wonderful. Switzerland. And it's the same job. It's the same thing. I do same stuff as I would do in the UK. Go into primary schools, get the kids to use their imagination, have fun, and buy some of my books. And they all get a signed copy at the end of the workshop.
That works every time.
Works every time.
You can eat and everything if you do that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. It's brilliant.
Any
So,
more
yeah,
radio dramas on the way? Because you often do some bits and pieces with them people over at Radio 4, don't you?
Well, BBC Radio 4, they broadcast my radio play about alternative comedy. That went out in February, and that was narrated by a guy called Andy de la Tour, who was a comedian around the time of the alternative comedy wave in the late 70s, early 80s. So he narrated that, and that seemed to have gone down quite well. I'm talking to a producer about doing a stage version of that. And if you think about it, alternative comedy, it's history now, because we're talking over 40 years ago. And consequently, I haven't been able to find anything dramatically that's about that period. There's been no films, no TV dramas. So I suggested to the BBC, we ought to do something about this. And the BBC, in their wisdom, said, yeah, okay. And so that went out in February. And I think it's still on iPlayer if you want to have a listen to listen to it. So that's happening. And I've got some other books coming out. I've got another 4 books coming out, would you believe?
Wow.
It's been quite a flurry at the moment.
That takes you up to 41 then, will it be?
Yeah, thereabouts. So yeah, this is a series of dinosaur books, comedy dinosaur books.
Yeah.
They're going
Okay.
to come out in September from a little company called Tiny. This is from Arcturus, I should say. They're the publishers of that one, and it's it's kind of an Arthurian. There's a word for you.
That's still a good one.
Arthurian tale melded together with dinosaurs, and I've really enjoyed doing it.
A round table, a wizard, and a T-Rex. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. That's it in a nutshell. So yeah, so those first one comes out in September, and then they come out every few months over the next year. So that's 5 I've got in the pipeline at the moment. It's mad, isn't it? And I'm doing the audiobooks as well.
And are you voicing those?
I am, with my very own mouth.
See, you do so much great stuff. I mean, I haven't seen you on stage for a while, so we need to rectify that one, don't we?
Well, what was the last thing I did on stage was Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin at the Wolverhampton ground. I was the notary. Do you remember?
I do.
That wasn't last Christmas. That was the Christmas before.
It was.
That's how long ago that was. Yes, I need to be back on stage doing some more showing off. But at the moment, it's all writing. I've got another Arts Council project starting in September, working in schools, creating another website based on stories and imagination.
Yeah.
And there's quite a flurry on at the moment. You're very lucky I managed to fit you in, actually, Jason.
I'm impressed. Yeah, it's talking to your people, you talk to my people, and then try and work out which people want to talk to whom. It's important to get these things right.
Exactly.
So lots of books, lots of entertainment, lots of things you've probably got going on in your head that you haven't told us about. Where does all this culminate into a big explosion of Billings?
Where does it culminate? Well, I don't think a culmination will ever happen. It's just the next thing that comes along is my next project. What can I do next? And of course, the things I'm talking to you about today are things that have been percolating and brewing for over 2-3 years. And then they pop out and I can tell people about them. So I've got things brewing and percolating as we speak. Can't say too much at the moment. That may not be out until another 2-3 years' time. It's just an ongoing process.
As long as you find time in your diary to talk to me about these, I'll be much appreciative.
Oh, I can always fit you in. Absolutely.
That'd be good. So where can we get these books from? Obviously, you've mentioned a couple of publishers. So what do we do? If you're on some grot and horror with Tolly
Grimpen's Tales of Grot and Horror is available from a company called Tiny Tree, and you can't get it yet. Oh no, this is hot off the press news. I've only got a copy because I'm the author, but it's on pre-order. That's what they call it, pre-order, which you can get on Amazon. You've heard of Amazon, haven't you, Jason?
I'm aware of their work.
Huge thing. Very popular. It's on all the computers, and you can order it on there and pre-order it, and that'll come out in September. So yes, that's where they are, and hopefully at some point there'll be an audiobook version of that as well.
Ooh,
if I can fit it in. But yeah, so that's the new book. I'm very proud of it. It's funny stories, daft stories, the rancid tale of the child phenomenon, and I wrote it all in the voice of a kind of Victorian storyteller. The bedraggled tale of the bewitched teeth, all this kind of thing. The
it's
septic
madness.
tale of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Shine. I could go on, but yeah, kids love it. It's been I really enjoyed doing that project.
Oh, well done. I mean, all your work's amazing. They love what you do. Brilliant stuff. And we want to see you back on stage soon, entertaining real people in real venues, as well as all the other stuff.
In the real world.
Yes, where the stairs and things, that sort of stuff. So give that a go. Meanwhile, socials, please.
My socials?
Yes.
Well, I've come off Twitter of late, so I'm on Threads.
Yes.
I've no idea what that is, and I don't know what my thread email angle.
It's probably the same as your Insta.
Oh, is it? What's Insta then?
Okay.
Have I got an Insta?
You're not down with the kids.
I've got a website. I know that.
That's be good.
Imaginatively titled and very memorably titled ianbillings.com. That's
Go
easy,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah. ianbillings.com.
Or find me on Threads. I'm out there somewhere. You can't miss me. Little bald man with glasses. You can't miss me.
Except you're not wearing your glasses today, but other than that, that's just to confuse us. Doesn't take a lot.
There we go.
Ian Billings, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, mate. Tolly Grimpen's Tales of Grot and Horror, coming to a bookshop near you.
There's an art exhibition coming up in conjunction with the Good Shepard Ministries in Wolverhampton. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Kate Penman. Afternoon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm getting by, thank you. So we love a bit of art in our city, and especially when it's raising awareness and helping those who find themselves in difficult positions. So tell us a bit about what's going on.
So we've partnered with SUIT, Service User Involvement Team, which are a charity that specialises in addiction and lived experience. So we've partnered with them since January when we were awarded Arts Council project funding.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've been working since January on an exhibition looking at the theme of recovery. So it's for Recovery Month, and Recovery Month is about raising awareness around addiction, looking at challenging stigma around addiction, and celebrating the journeys of those in recovery, and hopefully encouraging those who are yet not on that pathway to look seriously at their own lives and their own recovery journeys.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've done is widened the remit, because although the Good Shepherd works a lot with people in recovery, we also work a lot with people experiencing mental health issues and recovering from the trauma of homelessness. So it's quite a remit that we're looking at. And we're exhibiting at the New Hampton Arts Centre. And also we're taking over Wolverhampton Art Gallery at the end of September as well, which is exciting.
Yeah, so it's a brilliant program raising awareness, and I mean the work that Good Shepherd do, and people often think just as Good Shepherd as the homeless charity, but it's also addressing the cause for somebody finding themselves without a roof over their head. And as you say here, addiction is one of those causes, and the recovery process may come actually sometime after somebody finds themselves homeless, or it might come at a different point in their journey. So, there's a lot to consider from each person's perspective and point of view on how you get somebody into recovery too. And again, it's variable and it is different for everyone.
It is different for everyone, but the actual title of the exhibition is Recovery is for Everybody. Everybody has their unique pathway into recovery, and we're working with people in recovery from drugs addiction, alcohol addiction, mental health issues. We've been working with somebody who was homeless until the Good Shepherd and other agencies stepped in, Hope Project and Hope Into Action. And now he's safely housed, he's training for a new job, and he's doing remarkably well. But he says, and it's always lovely to hear, that the Good Shepherd changed his life. So, and he's been attending the workshops week in, week out since January, and he's doing extraordinarily well.
And it's also the level of assistance someone might need. I mean, many people ended up sofa surfing after times like the pandemic, and whilst during the pandemic, a lot of people got some extra help, which has previously not been funded. Others found themselves in more difficult positions because they were no longer able to live under their usual set of circumstances. So, we're a time that has changed, and we've seen an impact putting more people very often into the need for assistance from agencies like the Good Shepherd and those that they work with. And it's addressing those root causes and having the conversation. It's not, someone might see someone either begging on the street or sleeping rough, and they may end up having a very negative opinion of that person when actually they don't know the story behind them being there. And you've got to still think of every person affected here as a person, and this is again part of what this exhibition will help us to do.
Yes, definitely. I think it's deliberately challenging the stigma. What does addiction look like? What is your average addict, so to speak? Though we don't like using the sort of stigmatizing language around addiction, but it's very different for everybody. You can have high functioning people that are struggling with addiction. You can have people where there's been childhood trauma, so adverse childhood experiences in their life that have led to where they are at the moment. But I have to say, what's wonderful about our art group with SUIT is that these people that are attending the group, who now I love very dearly, are very serious about their recovery journey. So they've been attending week in, week out. We've had every 5 weeks we've changed the medium of art. So we started with illustration, we've done digital art, we've done pottery, we've done spoken word. We're currently doing spoken word with the poets, prattlers and pandemonialists. And everybody is supportive. We put people in a situation where they're a little bit out of their comfort zone, approaching new art mediums, and they've just excelled in everything that they do. And I think what's also been lovely to see is that they're such a tight unit because they've got the same lived experience or similar lived experience. They've got a vested interest in each other and they're incredibly encouraging of each other throughout the whole process. So it's lovely to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's giving these people the art space on the walls of the New Hampton Arts Centre as well, which is going to make a difference. And seeing your name next to a piece of work on a wall, that is going to be such an uplifting experience. It's only happened to me once. I was 12 and it was in the art gallery in Warsaw. And it was in a competition then. And just that, the feeling that it gives you, I know that that's good. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. I know some of you experience all the time, but for newbies, it's amazing, isn't it?
I think it's incredibly validating, isn't it? If you're seen in a certain light and then it's showing people in a different light altogether and bringing hidden stories to central stage kind of thing. But we've worked with families as well impacted by addiction. So the children will be seeing their art in the gallery as well, which I'm really excited about because the children have engaged quite fearlessly in the project. So we've ran that over the summer holidays with different artists. And the children have just launched in creating wonderful self-portraits, spirit animals. And we've got the last 2 workshops next week and the following week. And then that's it. Then we're approaching the installation and then the exhibition. So it's exciting times for all of us.
So exhibition the 13th through till the 27th of September. And you've got the event at the art gallery. The art gallery itself is a takeover on the Friday night, isn't it? On the 27th.
Yeah, which again is very exciting. So they've been running something called Friday Lates. So they're opening up the art gallery to different artists to do takeovers. So I approached the art gallery and spoke about our interest and Suit's interest in the project. And they said, yes, for Recovery Month, we could come in. So we've got music, DJs, live art, spoken words, a workshop drop-in, and that runs 6 till 9 on the 27th.
So that's all going to be well worth looking at. Can we find full details online and maybe see some of the tasters of the work that's going on to the boards?
Yeah, for sure. So if you follow us on social media, so if you find Good Shepard Services, we're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And we've also, we've done some really powerful podcasts with people who've attended the workshops. So the first workshop that we kicked off was with an artist that's 6 years clean of alcohol. So she began the workshop sharing her story of recovery. So she did a podcast with myself because I've got my own recovery journey, and another art group attendee. And then we've done one recently with somebody who's, I think, 9 months sober and now leading an art group at Suit, and another individual who experienced the trauma of homelessness. And he's shared his story of leaving a war-torn Ethiopia and becoming homeless in Wolverhampton. So, and how art has been an incredible tool in their recovery. So we've got podcasts available as well. And I forgot to mention, we're showing 2 films at Wolverhampton Art Gallery. So one around the Arts Council project, grant funded project, and another one around men's mental health in particular. So that's called Men Talk, and we'll be screening both films at the Art Gallery on the night.
So it's about recovery, about often people then being rehomed and also rehumanizing after that's been taken away from them by the situation they found themselves in. And, allowing people who want to be back up to their full selves to be able to recover and move on, but not forget the problems they've had, but to learn from them and express their world through the vision they've seen in the past.
That's exactly it. It's giving people are reclaiming their dignity and reclaiming their self-worth and self-esteem through the group and through the mutual support. So it is, they remember the trauma of their addictive behaviours and homelessness, etc. But it's a new page, it's a new chapter in their lives, and it's something that we can celebrate in art, and then have people come and see their artwork, discuss it with the artists. I think it's an incredibly validating experience for everybody involved.
Sounds like it'll be an amazing exhibition starting on the 6th of September. Kate Hammond, thank you for joining us from the Good Shepherd.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Jason.
When it comes to enjoying Wolverhampton, you can do it by the sea next weekend. The Friday, Saturday and Sunday of the bank holiday weekend brings buckets and spades to the city. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Cherry from Enjoy Wolverhampton. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for inviting me on.
Always good to talk to you. Now, there's loads of great initiatives reminding everyone how fantastic Wolverhampton City Centre is. And this time, it is the return of some fun in the sun with sand.
I know, we love this event, Seaside in the City. It's its 10th year. And it's fabulous to just welcome all the families to enjoy the beach. And we're holding it in Victoria Street this year. So a different location, but just the same amount of fun.
And it's nice to mix these things up and see the city come to life in a different way. And again, this is something that you do with all the work that goes on with the bid. And people don't necessarily realise how much work goes into these things behind the scenes, like getting sand into the middle of Wolverhampton.
Yeah, we're not really known for our beaches here in Wolverhampton, so yeah, we do have to transport it in, especially for the event. So yeah, we do loads of different things, but this is a real gem on our programme of annual events. You'll know that we do the Grotto in partnership with the Amanda Centre at Christmas, and I can't wait for that. And we've done some big concerts, and we do some smaller events and Easter activities, and we have the smallest zoo, which is still in the Amanda Centre if you want to go and check it out. But Seaside in the City has always been part of our annual programme of events. We really look forward to welcoming all the children and families to enjoy a day out at the Seaside in Wolverhampton City Centre.
Yeah, because if you can't get away on holiday this year, this is the way to do it. And I mean, souvenir shops are plenty in town. You can buy whatever you fancy.
Yeah, I'm sure you can get loads of beach souvenirs from the city centre shops, and ice cream and all the things that you would find at your traditional seaside resort here in the city centre.
So it's something to look forward to. It's a bit of fun. But I mean, for the actual businesses in the city as well, it shows the sort of investment that's possible and the ways in which getting people in town, just talking about town and reminding those who haven't been for a while that it still exists, because it does. It's thriving. Yeah,
it's just another opportunity to just come into the city, enjoy a really lovely day, make sure the kids are happy. All the children are going to be happy playing in sand. It's probably harder to drag them away from it at the end of the day. You can grab a bite to eat. There's so many places to go and visit, do a bit of shopping. So everybody wins in terms of this event. It's just a great all day fun-filled activity where everybody can have a great time and enjoy Wolverhampton. Yeah.
So knotted handkerchiefs, sun factor 50. Obviously, maybe not swimwear, but certainly beachwear. I think Hawaiian shirts, shorts, and tankinis could all work.
Yeah, and then you will stand out when we play our games as well, because we do have lots of fun and games when you come and join us at the beach. We've also got Dickie Dodd and his soundstage. So if you are dressed party and wearing your Hawaiian shirts, then you can listen to some of the greatest summer soundtracks too, and get involved in some of the fun and games that we'll have, and Dickie Dodd will be hosting that.
Yeah, I mean, Dickie knows a summer anthem, so he will be out there absolutely rocking it. Like, imagine it's like we won't have a foam party, will we? But it's almost like you're imagining that in your head.
Yeah, it's not quite that event, but definitely one for the family. We've also got loads of other things like circus skills workshops that the kids can have a go at trying some new skills and having a bit of fun. We've got Punch and Judy, and this is on the Friday and the Saturday. We'll have our Claude Ambassador Wolf costume character come and join us for the day. He's really good at welcoming all the children and saying hello, and some safe crack the code games with Dickie Dodd as well. So some real opportunities to win some prizes and just have a really good time and have some fun in the city centre.
It does sound like fantastic fun. I think I may well be joining you to come and enjoy a Costa del Wolverhampton, and
Absolutely.
it's going to be a jolly good fun. And again, it's the serious side of making sure we don't lose anything from our city by using it. And again, it's all about the family, and that's how it should be, because we've got so many family businesses in the heart of Wolverhampton. It's just great to see them too.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, combine your trip with a bit of a family outing. Get what you need for back to school as well. You know, it really, the timing of it is really on the cusp of us all preparing for us. You know, getting our school uniforms freshened up and our pencil cases filled and things like that. So yeah, really use it as an opportunity to do a bit of shopping and having a bite to eat whilst you're in the city. On the Sunday though, it's a bit of a quieter event day. So if you just want to come and chill by the beach, or if you just want a bit more of a relaxed session at the seaside in the city, then come along on the Sunday when we won't have the sort of same levels of noise. It's probably better for those people just seeking a bit of more of a relaxed vibe at the beach on Sunday. So join us on those days if you fancy a bit of a quieter trip to the seaside.
Sounds like a good way of doing it. So lots in store, brilliant way of doing it. Can we find it all on the socials as well?
Yeah, if you go to enjoywolverhampton.com, you'll find all the details. It's from 10 till 5 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's all the finer details are on our website at enjoywolverhampton.com.
Take loads of pictures and tag you in on them as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Lovely to see. It's so lovely to look back, just see all the smiling faces, the sandcastles. We do have sandcastle competitions, and some of the creations are absolutely magnificent. So yeah, fabulous to see all the children having a great time and the parents getting involved too.
Absolutely. And if you've been every year for 10 years and you've got photos, maybe of you building sandcastles, it'd be interesting to see how your architectural skills have improved over that time as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, see how you've progressed. But I mean, we have had people that have been quite disappointed that their children are a bit too old to come and join in on the fun. I don't think anyone's too old to have a go at making a sandcastle on a beach. So everyone's welcome.
I've got a feeling you may be making a few sandcastles yourself, Jerry.
Well, yes, it wouldn't be the first or won't be the last time.
All sounds good to me. Amazing stuff. City of Wolverhampton. Come along onto Victoria Street from the Friday through to Sunday, and 10 through 5, and you can have a brilliant time down there at the seaside of the city.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Jerry Shine, lovely to speak to you as ever. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jason. That's great.
Now, when it comes to folk music, you don't necessarily initially think of Canada. Somebody who is a Winnipeg local is Noah Derksen, who joins me now to tell me about his music and his travels around the world. How are you doing, sir?
Jason, I'm well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, good here and good to talk to you. Now, Emerging Artist of the Year, that must have been a good accolade to have. And it's one of those things you can only really do once, isn't it? Because once you have emerged, they'll be judging you in different ways.
I have considered myself emerged at the moment. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between emerging and now having emerged, but I will take what I can get.
But you've been touring Canada, since 2016 on a professional basis?
Yeah, that's right. It is the term Emerging Artist of the Year. So I won Canadian Folk Music's Emerging Artist of the Year back in 2021, and it's a validating thing. But it's funny because I had at that point been making music and touring around professionally for some 6 years, and really eating the pavement, as we say. And so what constitutes emerging? It feels like it's something that it doesn't necessarily reflect all the years and work that I've put in. But then on the other hand, the more that I do this whole music thing, the more I realize how little I actually know. The more that there's a whole I just new levels to unpack with songwriting, with guitar playing, with sending emails, with every part of the business of being a musician.
Well, that includes social media as well these days, and mostly it's always better, I think, when a musician does their own socials rather than having somebody else sharing pictures that have been curated.
Yeah, no, that's true. You do have to be also a bit of a guru at social media, and so on and so forth. I always find my view has always been social media it's fun as a music fan, I'm obviously a music fan first and foremost, and I love seeing a bit of the more personal elements of like, and social media is a way to share those things. So share a bit of the behind the scenes. And so if you have somebody else that's curating it for you, there's this intangible feeling that you as the audience will get, where it feels like, oh, that's a little bit put on, not really that sincere. So I always try to keep that in mind when I'm posting stuff. Is even if it's not polished, it almost better. Videos, for example, it doesn't have to be good per se, just as long as it shows an emotion and shows a little bit behind the scenes.
Mm. Oh, but the same people who helped you emerge are now nominating you for Songwriter of the Year for 2024. So that was, again, and just to be nominated in that category is a good move.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's a wonderful recognition, and I'm proud of. I'm definitely proud of some degree of progress, and also just shows that somebody out there is listening, and I'm not just doing this for myself. So that's encouraging.
So how do you come to folk music then? Because it's quite a wide genre. Often it can sort of cross over into country a little bit, depending on which end of the scale that you're on. So what made you a folk supremo?
Yeah, folk music. Like folk music in Canada, Canada is such a young country in comparison to the UK, in comparison to Ireland, the States even. And so culture, it hasn't had the same pressure cooker of just sheer length of time in order to form. And so in Canada, folk music kind of is defined by any sort of acoustic music, broadly speaking. I went to Ireland and performed at a festival a year and a half ago or so, and it just blew me away. And just seeing the role of folk music and more traditional folk music in that culture of being, this is going to be a bit of a tangent here. I hope you'll stay with me, but the role of music in the culture, you see how it's formed over time of music being a community endeavor, a space for people to gather at the local pub or wherever, and anybody that wants to participate can participate. And you see the role of music being that kind of community driver, that bringing people together. Whereas what I found in maybe in North America is once the music mixes with commerce, at this day and age, and we talked a bit about social media before, but it gets mixed up between the purpose of it being, rather than a community driver, it can feel like this is a self-indulgent pursuit where I'm just trying to do this for myself. So going to Ireland was a really fascinating experience, because it brought me back into what is the reason, why am I trying to do this whole music thing? What is the purpose of this? What's the purpose of folk music? And that purpose is community. We're trying to bring people together. You're trying to make people feel things. And a lot of, in this day and age, I find the more Western North American, I'm sure it's somewhat the same in the UK too, but a lot of music is about trying to convince, modern music at least, is trying to convince people that you're more famous than you are. And so with social media and with performances, you're trying to separate yourself as a performer from, you're trying to separate audience and performer and put yourself up on a pedestal. And one that just doesn't work with who I am as a person, that doesn't fit my personality, doesn't fit the music as well. And so going to Ireland and seeing the role, what this folk music is, it kind of helped me shift my mission statement and understand the why I'm doing this.
And with your music, your last album was 2023. You're planning a new one for 2025, but it doesn't mean we're not getting a few teasers along the way, does it?
Yeah, that's right. We're always making music. I guess, the award of Emerging Artist of the Year. You do something for long enough and you get a little better at it. That's what I found. So songwriting, music production, all this stuff. I'm writing songs and continually recording songs, and so on the way I want to share it with people. So we have just released a single a few months ago now called Through It All, and have some more, another project that's about to be released. Actually, I recorded, haven't told anybody about this, but I'm typically very bad at keeping secrets. But we recorded an album full of cover songs that have influenced me and shaped me as a songwriter over the years, and we're starting to release that in September. So yeah, always got stuff on the go. Always stuff on the go.
A few collaborations as well.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. There's another thing that over the years, when I first started out playing music and making music, it was something that I did alone by myself in my dorm room, and writing songs was something, it was a therapeutic outlet for me to sort through all my thoughts and feelings and emotions, and that was kind of a safe space. And so the more that I've gotten into songwriting, into making music, the more I've realized the power of collaboration. And so opening up the process, it's a scary thing, but also you allow yourself the final product, the end point, to be just that much better. So this song, Through It All, I wrote with my friend Lindsay Foote in Boston on a particularly beautiful sunny Wednesday morning in December. I actually don't remember if it was Wednesday. I'm just saying. I'm just making that up. It could have been a Sunday for all I know, but it was sunny. Yeah, and then just seeing what other people bring out of you, and the stories. For me, that song felt like a very personal song, a very, very personal song to me in my specific situation, what was going on in my life at the time, and yet something about writing it with somebody else, with Lindsay, allowed me to look a little bit more deeply internally and take out that story. I've written with a handful of folks now, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've actually written a few songs and one from my last album with a British with a songwriter from the UK, Katie Hurt and Gab Zapka. We wrote the three of us wrote a few songs together, and one that was on my last record.
Okay, so what can we expect from you personally? Obviously, we talked a bit about the music, but when you're throwing yourself into these tours, it's all over Canada again. Is it for the next few weeks and months?
Yeah, mostly in Canada, all throughout, and then a little bit in the States in the fall, and then coming to continental Europe in January, February, doing a run of shows through Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, and Vienna.
So we've got a bit to travel to get to any of these, haven't we, at the moment? So when are you coming to the UK next?
The plan would be sometime in 2025. I played a show in London a year and a half ago, just kind of passing through, and working to get back.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you around then. Meanwhile, we'll take a listen to Through It All. But give us all the socials where we find you and how we track down that covers album when that's due out later this year.
Noah Derksen. I'm on all the socials, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. So just noahderksen.com, and that'll take you to wherever you need to go.
Well, no, great speaking to you. Thank you for joining us. And we look forward to the next batch of music, even though we're still enjoying what we currently have out there. So have a great time with it. Enjoy your time on the road, and do come back to us as soon as you're going to hit our shores so we can get people over to see you in real life.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it.
I wake up in the morning, the sun is shining bright, the birds are singing way up in the sky. Coffee's on the table, there's a kindness in your eyes. I get the urge for leaving, I could not tell you why. So I pack myself a suitcase, up and gone again, leaving you behind. I know it starts to weigh thin, but hearts were made for roaming, and you're with me where I go. It's the cost of living, oh, that long and winding road. Yeah, I come home to you in the middle of the night, and you stay up so late with arms open wide. And we got faults, and we got failures, we stumble and we fall. Still, you're the one I love through it all. This feels so perfect, sleeping by your side. But the world has got a funny way of sneaking up behind. Your brother called this morning, you dropped down to the floor. You're needing my shoulder, but I ain't here no more. Yeah, I come home to you in the middle of the night, and you stay up so late with arms open wide. We got faults, we got failures, we stumble and we fall. Still, you're the one I love through it all. Yeah, we'll pick it up where we left off, we'll work it out, and we'll be better off. 'Cause you gotta know, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And I come home to you in the middle of the night, and you stay up so late with arms open wide. And we got faults, and we got failures, we stumble and we fall. Still, you're the one I love through it all. Yeah, you're the one I love through it all.
Now, following the inspiration of our Olympians over the last month, it's been absolutely amazing to see so many doing so well, and particularly with the triathlon too. That's been a great place to go and see some brilliant sportsmen and women in action. Somebody who is reminding us how important it is to stay hydrated, whatever we're doing this summer, however energetic we get, is Professor Greg Whyte, OBE, Olympian. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Very well indeed. Good to see you.
Good to have you along. Now, two-time Team GB star, and you have to stay hydrated. Everyone in Paris was avoiding drinking the Seine, but other than that, we want to make sure we take some fluids on board.
No, absolutely. I mean, never been a better time really to talk about what Ocean Bottle has just released in terms of its research on hydration, and it really is the heat to some extent tells us exactly what we should be doing, and that is we should be drinking more. But sadly, what we find is that the vast majority, particularly in the UK, we are notoriously bad at rehydrating, at consuming fluids. And what generally tends to happen because of that is that we get this ever present, ever growing dehydration, which of course has a significant impact on both our physical and mental performance and our health.
I mean, it makes us sluggish if we don't drink properly. We have that strange feeling of thirst, but after a while, your body kind of gives up on you and waits till you're absolutely dehydrated before it does anything about it. So it is important to make sure that we are making the fluid pass our lips, and preferably water, because that is the one thing that is best for us, isn't it? Really.
It's certainly better than lager. Let's put it like that. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. But I mean, interesting enough, to some extent, I think what we've done is we've demonized some fluids in preference for others. But to some extent, what we should be doing is just creating a culture of increasing fluid intake. So making it more habitual, more part of our daily lives. And I think if we can do that, then it just becomes a normal part of what we do. I mean, certainly one of the things that we find is actually is availability. So it's not just about the fact that people don't want to drink. It's actually about having the availability of fluid on a continual basis. And I think this is where, reusable bottles. So one of the things that we're working with Ocean Bottle on is this critical problem of single-use plastics and the devastating impact that's having on our environment. But by carrying a water bottle with us, a reusable bottle with us, what it does, it means that we've got the availability of fluid constantly. That means that what that can do is encourage us to drink more, and then it becomes part of our daily lives, and so we can stay on top of it.
I'd like to carry a bottle around with me. There are all sorts of places we can refill these when out and about. I know in the heart of Wolverhampton, in the Mander Centre, we've got a machine which is there to produce nice, cool water, just the right temperature for drinking. And, there are other options as well. So it is good to do. And so having a responsible water bottle as well is another good one, because these are bottles that they would do amazingly good work, having taken the equivalent of 1 billion plastic bottles in weight out of the oceans already.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think it's an interesting one, because we kicked off talking about the Seine. One of the big highlights, I would say, of the Olympics was actually the pollution in the Seine. Well, you don't need to look at the French for that. Just take a look at the UK and the problems that we've got with our waterways, both in terms of rivers and lakes, but also in terms of the oceans. And if you think globally, we're producing somewhere in the region of about 400 billion tons of plastics annually, and only 10% of that is recycled. And of course, the rest of that then ends up in landfill, or sadly ends up in our waterways and in the oceans, which is having a devastating effect. So actually making sure that we make a conscious decision to purchase the right product, the product like Ocean Bottle, which actually not only are you using reusable plastics to create the bottle itself, but actually for every bottle that you buy, that leads to 1,000 bottles in weight being recycled when it comes to plastics that are used on a single-use basis. So it's one of those things. I think generally we sort of think, well, look, we know there's a problem when it comes to pollution, and particularly plastic pollution. But an awful lot of people are thinking, well, what can I do about it? Well, I think actually a reusable bottle is a great way to start.
Yeah, and of course, they also have replaceable parts as well, because sometimes these things wear out or get damaged, and you don't have to bin your whole bottle. You just get the replacement bits that you need.
No, absolutely right. And I think, and there are lots of things about bottles. I mean, if I think about my kids, I've got 3 kids. Each of them has a reusable bottle, which they take to school every day. And obviously now schools are providing fluid, because what we know is that actually hydration is really important for cognitive function. So their performance academically at school, as well as their physical performance, relies upon hydration. So most schools across the country now actually provide refill stations. So having a reusable bottle really makes a difference for them. But of course, if anybody else's kids are like my kids, invariably they get dragged through the mud, they get thrown about the place, they get abused and misused. And so actually being able to clean the bottle, which I think a lot of parents do worry about, is how do I clean these bottles? And with something like the Ocean Bottle, you just chuck it into the dishwasher, and you get a thorough clean. So you can be actually sure that what you are doing is you're staying healthy and safe whilst you're actually hydrating.
Yeah, and that's the important bit. So it's being hydrated, making sure that you don't end up with your pee coming out a really dark color. If that's happening to you, you're not drinking enough, and that is your body raising alarm bells saying you need to sort something here, isn't it?
It is, and it's an interesting one, because clinically, when we're working, we talk about hydration. It's actually quite a complex issue, quite a complex area about what's going on with what are called electrolytes, so the salts in the fluid, the amount of fluid that you're losing, the reason for that fluid loss. But actually, in very simple terms, actually just do what we call the wee test, and just look at your wee. And what you are looking for is you're looking for urine which is straw coloured, so it's light yellow coloured. It shouldn't look like licorice, and it should be plentiful. So if you've got a plentiful flow of light coloured urine, then you're in the right place. If it's very dark, that tells you there is probably a problem in terms of hydration. There are other things that can cause that urine to be dark, like B vitamins if you're taking a multivitamin, so be careful of that. But actually, it's a great way just to take a look at when you're having a wee. If it looks a bit dark or you're not producing as much as you should be, you probably need to drink a little bit more.
Absolutely. And so having worked abroad and had charts on the wall reminding me how these things should look, it's something we don't do in the UK, isn't it? So, it's something we need to think about. Say, particularly whether people are doing sport or outdoor activities over the summer, make sure you stay hydrated because you will also sweat more as well. And so it is all about keeping yourself fully cognitive and feeling healthy, and doing it through recyclable and reusable bottles. That's the way it should work. Where do we find out more about ocean bottles?
Well, simply go to the website. So the Ocean Bottle website, it has got all the information. And in particular, what it does do is it demonstrates where this work in terms of reusing plastics and recycling plastics and how the bottles are made, and the difference actually that buying an ocean bottle will make to the reclamation of that plastic around the world. So it's not just only in the UK, it's actually work that goes on around the world with various partners in different countries. But yeah, the website is an absolute wonderful source of information, and of course you can also buy your bottles through that portal as well.
And what else have you been up to recently? Because I know in the past you've trained all sorts of celebs to do open water swimming. Is there anything exciting going on in your world at the minute?
There's always something exciting going on. But yeah, I mean, certainly, and what we're doing at the moment. So I've been looking after children in need for a couple of years now. So we had Vernon Kay last year when we ran from Leicester to Bolton, which was fun. And then we're just in the process of organising the next challenge, which I could tell you about, but unfortunately I'd have to kill you if I did.
Okay. Well, that wouldn't be environmentally friendly in any way whatsoever. So, because I do reuse my water bottles. So that is okay. For now, Professor Greg Whyte, OBE, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
That's all for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 792 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.